2, 1. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome to the next presentation, either in your 12-week program or live or in the 6-month mastery, wherever you listen to this, welcome. This module is going to be talking about the simple things about what to do when it all goes wrong, because sometimes with all the best intentions in the world, things just don't work as well as you thought they would. So what's the contingency plan? What do you do when things don't go wrong, when things don't go the way that you want them to do? So first of all, despite feeling like you want to panic, it's not working, don't panic. Don't panic, because most people have gone through what you're probably feeling on some level. And just to point out, you're not a special case. And I mean that with the most respect. You're not a special case. If you feel it's not working, it's because there's something that you're doing and it won't work for you. It works for everyone. You know, there's nothing wrong with you individually, that it works for everybody. And pretty much everyone that's gone through the program has felt like this in one way or another, whether they don't think it's going to work, whether they feel like there's something's holding them back, or maybe they don't think they're losing the weight at the speed that they thought they should. Maybe they start comparing. Look, it's very easy to say, well, such and such has lost 21 pounds and I'm only at 10. You know, we're nearly at the same weeks. Maybe I should be doing better. You can't compare yourself. All you need to do is get back to the basics, and we'll look at what it means about getting back to basics. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is ask yourself these questions, and probably before that, so pre the questions, you want to come to the weekly coaching call and start filling your feedback form in. Now, this is tricky because when things aren't going the way you hope they would, it's very hard to come on the weekly call mentally. I get it. I can see it all the time. If someone misses 3 or 4 calls in a row, and look, you guys, there's 2 of you in from the States here, so I appreciate you. You know, it's the middle of your day. And I know that some guys abroad can't make it purely because of its scheduling time of the day in the middle of the work day. But if you're making the effort to come on the call, if you don't come on the call for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, I can pretty much guarantee something's going wrong. And anyone that's listening to this or watching this module, if things aren't going right, that's the one time you should come to the coaching call, because you get your questions answered, you get any issues or problems, your mind put to rest, you see other people doing it. And I can't overstate the benefits of turning up to the weekly call. And I've had people that are going to leave the program because they think it's not working, it doesn't work for me. And they've come on the weekly call and there's been 7, 8, 9 other people there. And they've got, you know what, I'm turning this around, I can do this. So the first thing is to start coming to the weekly calls. If you're not doing it, commit to that 1 hour a week. Fill in your feedback form. Fill in your feedback form. The very act of putting your pen to paper, or rather typing into the feedback form, you're almost coaching yourself. Most of you know the answers. That's why I asked you those questions. You already know the answers to. And then you want to start asking those questions, the basic questions. Am I tracking everything accurately? A lot of people say, well, I'm tracking things, but maybe I missed out on the weekend, or, oh, I didn't realize I needed to track everything. Oh, I've missed a couple of drinks at the weekend. And all of these little things add up, because what we know 100% non-negotiable, if the weight's not coming off, it's because you're not in a calorie deficit. Now that might sound a bit obvious. It might not even sound fair, but you know, such and such is putting this amount of it in and they're hemorrhaging weight and fat loss is just dropping off them. Great, good for them, but that might not be you. We know if you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit, and that is non-negotiable. So we have to look at the equation, calories in versus calories out every single time, and ask yourself, am I being honest with myself? Am I actually being honest with myself? Very often, when we look closely at people that aren't losing the weight that they thought they should, it usually 9 times out of 10 in my experience is they're not telling the truth to themselves. And that's, the truth hurts, and people cover up and people lie and tell fibs, and they don't want to admit to themselves that they're maybe cutting corners or they didn't track there. And you know, I'll let you into, this is a true story. A couple of years ago, I used to let everyone track their own calories, and I took their answer, face value, are you tracking your calories? When they said yes, I took that as gospel, which is why I asked you guys to send your macros in every week. You know, I have a quick glance at those macros. It's not about actually looking at your macros. I'll let you into a little secret. Don't stop sending them in, because I've realized that when people send them in, I know that they're going to start tracking correctly. I know that they're more likely to hit their protein, keep an eye on their carbs, do all the things we've said. And when you send them in, you know that me and Adam are going to be looking at them. So they're going to be better than if you're not sending them in. If I said, how are your macros? Yeah, I'm tracking. And true story, I actually had a client that's just got to week 6 and she wasn't losing the weight that she wanted to. And she started to blame me. And it was frustrating because I knew deep down she wasn't tracking and she wasn't following the calories, because if she was, she would have been losing weight. And I said to her, you're tracking your calories, right? She said, yeah, every week without fail. I said, well, let's just look at what you are eating, because maybe there's something you're doing. Can you send me the last 6 weeks of MyFitnessPal over? And I said, this is 2 years ago, before I made it compulsory to send your macros in. And she went, yeah, let me try and dig them out. And I knew straight away, this was on a Zoom call, I knew instantly that she hadn't been tracking. And then she emailed me a couple hours later, said, look, Gav, I'll be honest, I'd tracked for the first week. I didn't think it was working. I just started not doing it. And I realized, you know, I've only lost 3 pounds in the 6 weeks. It's not you, it's me. I've not been tracking. I've had some weekends away. So we got down to the reality, and she wanted to blame me, but she knew it wasn't me. And I kind of knew that, but I wanted her to admit that. The point I'm saying is, are you being honest with yourself? If you're being honest and you're tracking, we will get to the answer. We will get to the answer, because it only works every time. You know, are you hitting your calories, your protein, and are you getting your exercise sessions done? It doesn't take a lot. If you're doing 2, 3, 4 sessions of something a week and you're controlling your calories, that's all that you need to do to lose body fat. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Ultimately, that's it. Controlling your calories and making sure you move your body on a regular basis. And it really does come down to that. You could then add in, am I drinking enough water, which is obviously going to help. And am I sleeping well? And looking at the bigger picture, where can I improve? Of all the things I'm doing in my schedule, my life, what could I tighten up on? You know, if you were then coaching someone else, be honest and absolutely tell the truth. Well, look, I'm eating well and maybe I could exercise more, but my sleep's terrible. Now that itself won't stop you losing body fat, because ultimately it'll come down to the calories. But when you're sleeping badly, your appetite is skewed, so you're more likely to overeat. So when you look at your weekends, you realize 2 days of the weekend are taking you well over your calorie allowance, and maybe something's working. Now the reality is, it will always come down to what you're doing or what you're not doing. So ask yourself those questions, come to the weekly call. That's the first thing you need to do if things aren't going well. And then focus. You're in this program for 12 weeks, okay? You paid a lot of money to be here. You want to get great results. Just focus, think, what am I doing this for? Track everything. It comes back to that, goes back to basics. As I mentioned before, calories in versus calories burned, that is fat loss. And the answer is there. Don't start thinking it's just not going to work because of X, Y, Z. The answer is there, and I promise you. And look, it's okay to have doubts and to be scared. That most of you, not all of you, most of you have tried many things before that you've tried and they've not worked. And that could be for various reasons. Maybe you've tried the wrong things, or you didn't give the right thing a good go, or maybe you never got a chance to do the right thing. So it's okay to have doubts and to be scared. And nearly everyone that comes into the program, the hardest barrier that or obstacle they've had to overcome has been actually saying yes on the call to join the program. Not all of you, but for some of you, like, you know what? And the amount of phone calls that I have where someone is literally dying to say yes, but for some reason their self-limiting beliefs kick in. And because of what previously happened, they've tried things that not worked and they've said no, and I know they're kicking themselves. So it's okay to have doubts and to be scared, but what do you do? We've all heard this acronym, FEAR. Do you fuck everything and run? A lot of people do that. Or do you look at that and realize that It's false evidence appearing real. I'm sure you've heard that before, maybe you haven't. False evidence appearing real. Very often we think that very things we're scared of, we're afraid of, it's false evidence, and that comes from a lot of the self-limiting beliefs that we've had. I've tried everything before. Well, you haven't tried everything, because if you tried everything, you'd be losing weight. There's those self-limiting beliefs. And the question that most people say to themselves, what if it doesn't work? I get that often in my calls. I'm scared. What if it doesn't work for me? Do you know what I say to people when they say, what if it doesn't work? I say, what if it does work? And they're like, oh, I don't know what to say to that. What if it does work? Ask yourself, when you start having, self-limiting beliefs about anything, not just weight loss, well, what if it doesn't work? What if it does work? What are you going to do then? Here are those typical self-limiting beliefs. You could fill in all the gaps here. I've always struggled with my weight. I've tried everything. I'm big boned. I can never stick to a diet. I can't do, and I've left that blank. You can fill in every variation that you can put in there, make up your own. There's so many self-limiting beliefs that people have. And if you find yourself saying, I can't do this because of that, it doesn't work because of, is that the truth? Or is it that false evidence appearing real? And false evidence comes from things you've done in the past that have maybe given you proof of whether something's going to work or not. You've got to look at it and say, is that the truth? Or is it just because I just didn't find the right program, or I didn't take the right actions? Okay, as I mentioned this before, I mentioned this many times, the mechanics of fat loss are very, very simple. We can teach that in 20 minutes to someone that's never heard of this at all. You burn more calories than you're taking in, you create that calorie deficit, you move your body a few times a week. Ultimately, that's what fat loss comes down to. So the mechanics are extremely simple. Excuse me. The psychology of fat loss, that's the hard stuff. That's the emotional side of food, and the triggers, and the self-limiting beliefs, self-esteem, self-image, self-fulfilling prophecy, all these, the psychological aspect of what stopped people getting the results. Because every single one of you, unless you've been living on Mars, losing weight is burning more calories than you're taking in. Excuse me. And remember this, don't forget this. You can't mess this up. You really can't mess this up, because, yeah, we're doing this for 12 weeks. But as I said before, the skills that we're learning on these 12 weeks are transferable for the rest of your life. This is not starting week 1, finishing week 12. That's not the end of the program. So maybe you come to the end of the 12 weeks and you haven't lost as much weight as you thought you would, or you'd hoped, and you've seen other people in the program lose a lot more, and you feel like it's not working for you. Let's say worst case scenario, you only lose 12 pounds in the whole 6 weeks. On paper, you might think, well, I've failed. Well, you haven't, because it's 12 pounds that you've lost, 12 pounds of body fat that you've lost, which is a great result. And if you can do that in 12 weeks, guess what you can do in the next 12 weeks? You can lose another 12 pounds. And guess what you can do in the next 12 weeks? You can lose another 12 pounds. So in 9 months, you could lose 36 pounds. When you look at it that way, it's taken a lot of you years and years to get to where you are. Don't underestimate what you can achieve in a year doing this. So don't look at, I've messed this up. You can't mess it up. You might not be progressing as much as you think you would or think you should, but look at this as a long game. Yes, it's 12 weeks, but this is a program to take forward. And here's a big thing. Don't ever compare yourself and your results to anyone else, because there's so many reasons why you should never do this. And I get it. When you're in the program, you see someone storming ahead, or someone seems to be losing weight with less effort, and the weight just seems to be dropping off. It's very easy. It's human nature, and we all do it in every aspect of our life, especially in the world of Facebook and Instagram and comparison. And comparison really is the thief of joy. Run your own race. Focus on your actions that you're taking. And the reason you can't compare yourself to anyone else on this program, because you've all come from a different starting point. you've all got different lifestyles, you've got different abilities, you've got different skill sets, you've got different energy, you've got different mindsets, everything. You can, because someone that comes into it and loses 40 pounds, you think, well, I must be a loser, I've only lost 20 pounds. You don't know what that other person has gone through to get to where they are. You don't know where they're starting, where they're ending, what they've been through in life. And to actually get the result that they're getting, you have to maybe take all the shit that they've got in their life. So you can't ever compare yourself. And I'm talking to myself here as much as you guys. You know, we all compare ourselves, and when you find yourself doing it, just don't. Just realize that you're an individual, you've got your skill set, focus on the things that you can control yourself, the actions that you can take yourself, and ignore everyone else. Okay, keep an eye on them, keep a healthy eye, but when it becomes a problem, as in you're comparing yourself and then you're judging yourself on their results and making yourself feel inferior, that's when it becomes a problem. There's nothing wrong with a bit of competition. And you see someone storming ahead, if you're using that in a positive way, that's a good thing. But if it feel that negativity, that little jealousy, that envy, that comparison in a detrimental way creeping in, that's when it's a problem. Okay, ignore it. And I'll finish on this, short and sweet. If for some reason, with everything that's been said and done, you're tracking your calories, you're doing your exercise, you're doing everything right, and you don't feel it's working as well as you should, always revisit your goal that you set in the very beginning and your why. Do it on a daily basis. This just keeps your motivation high. It keeps you focused on what you're trying to achieve. So always revisit the goal, and the why. The why is probably more important than the goal. The goal, let's say your goal is to lose 30 pounds, great goal. But that's not why you're trying to lose 30 pounds. Everyone wants to see 30 pounds less on the scales, great. But that's not what you're trying to achieve. The why is more energy, feel confident, get back into my clothes, play with the kids, travel more, get a promotion, make more money, better sex life, sleep better, all these different things that we go to promote or go to put together what our goal is, what our why is. They're the reasons you want to achieve your goal. So revisit your goal on a daily basis. Focus on that why, get some passion, get some emotion around why you want to achieve what you do. When you've got some emotion, you attach passion to your goal and your reasons why, that's going to help you take action. A lot of people, you've heard me talk about motivation being overrated. We all need a certain amount of motivation to get it started, but it's not always going to get you finished. Motivation is finite, it runs out. Look, we're all motivated when we've slept well, we've eaten well, work's going well, there's money in the bank, we haven't had an argument with our wife or husband, we're getting on well with the kids, all these things. When life's sweet, it's easy to be motivated. But if you're always looking to go to the gym or eat well or do all the things you need to do to get the goal you're trying to achieve based on whether motivation is high, you're going to fall short, because motivation runs out, and some days you're just not going to feel motivated. What motivation will get you started? You need a little bit to get you going, but what's going to get you to the end goal and get you focusing on the basic tasks that we talked about before is your why. Those 10 reasons why you want to achieve 30 pound weight loss. All right, guys, that's the end of the module. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.